Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and this is your late, out-of-date World Trigger Review, Chapter 57. And like I said in my last couple videos, I had this paper due, so everything for the last couple days was just not done, in terms of my channel at least. So now that I'm slightly freer, I'm trying to push out all these videos. Um, I doubt I'll get caught up by tonight, especially since I've actually decided to review One Piece this week, since it was pretty good. But anyway, World Trigger. This one, Kazuma. It started off with Kazuma. He told Rio and Shiro to retreat, and after a little bit of talking, after a little bit of convincing, they decided to do it and retreat. During this convincing period, we heard about the Tryon Relay Center and the Tryon Supply System, which are like the heart and the brain of the Tryon body. That's pretty much all you really need to know. Like the supply system, for example, is the heart, and rather than supplying blood to the body, it supplies Tryon. Like it's literally the same thing. They're literally the heart and brain of the Tryon body. So that was interesting. They talked about how if they took one of those out, then Enidor would be done for. And but they didn't do that. They ended up retreating. And Enidor said he didn't really care because he's happy as long as he can kill people, which was interesting considering he hasn't killed a single person, and he won't be able to because they have a little thing called bailing out. So unless he goes to HQ, man, I don't know what he's talking about, but hey. I'm pretty sure they know about bailing out. I'm pretty sure Hyrain and Mira were talking about it like a few chapters ago or something. Unless he was one of those types of characters who just doesn't listen because he's just so obsessed with fighting, and then he ended up missing out on the important information about bailing out, but I doubt it. Maybe he plans on going to HQ or something after he's done with his mission, I don't know, but whatever. We kind of just ignore him for the rest of the chapter, and we focus on Murakami. Alright, he was fighting 3 mod rabbits, and instead of relying on witches and having them fight, he decides he's going to try and fight them on his own. If you got the Brynhilde reference, then you're awesome. Alright, but yeah, he tries to fight all 3 on his own. Luckily, he doesn't need to do that because Tachikawa shows up and takes care of them. Alright, so that, that was good for him. And he's like, well, everyone, he's like the only one who's having a good time in this situation. Everyone else is like bailing out and getting attacked by people, and he's just sitting there having, what's her name, Kunichika, having her keep track of how many mod rabbits have been taken out by people, and he's trying to take out the most, and he's like turning it into a giant game, which is actually kind of funny. Yeah, he took out 3, so now he's tied with Arashiyama, but he gave 2 of them to Murakami since he did most of the work, which you can kind of tell because I guess he had this like crack going down down the side of his face. I would assume that's because he's exhausted a lot of Tryon, and his Tryon body is kind of just falling apart now. I need to reread the series because I always forget like little details which should be obvious, but they aren't. Whatever. I'll do it at some point. I need to finish my Kill la Kill video first. Off topic. Off topic. All right. He ends up getting Tachikawa. I mean, he ends up getting orders from Shinoda to head east and kind of take over for Kazuma's squad and rescuing the trainees and protecting the civilians. Some of the guys were like, "Wait, why are you doing that? We should have him fight the Black Trigger because no one else can handle him except for Tachikawa." Excuse me. And Shinoda's like, "Well, I mean, their plan is to capture the trainees, so these humanoid neighbors have probably come down in order to allow that plan to be a success. So if we stop their plan, the Black Trigger will end up going to him." All right, so then they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah. All right, and we saw Katsumi Karasawa. All right, he had a little cameo here, coming back from a business trip. And he agreed with Shinoda too, though he didn't actually verbalize it. It was all a thought bubble. But yeah, so that was interesting. Anything else worth mentioning there? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything else worth mentioning there. After that, Shinoda, not Shinoda, Arashiyama. Alright, he and Yuma, they were fighting, and Jin ended up showing up. Alright, and he says he wants to take Yuma with him because he sees a number of different futures that are possible, and one of them involves Osamu dying, and he doesn't want that worst case scenario to come true. Alright, and he also says that not just victory and defeat decide the future, which was interesting. So he's saying it doesn't matter if Konami wins or loses, it doesn't matter, this future can still happen, which means it might have something to do. So I know some of those features have something to do with whether or not Miwa shows up. But maybe one of them has to do with maybe even if Konami wins and loses, maybe Osamu will decide to do something that will result in his death. So I don't know. It could mean anything. One of the things I like about time travel and future talk is how sometimes it's just hard to figure out what happens. So when Gene says stuff like this, I find it very awesome, kind of, because it's just something I'm interested in. I think it's cool. One of my favorite anime of all time is Steins Gate because it's awesome, and if you haven't seen it, you should. In my intro, the very first clip in there is like this guy in a lab coat dancing and stuff. That's from Steins Gate. So maybe I shouldn't describe it like that because some people think it's lame. But it's actually awesome. Amazing writing, one of the best anime you'll ever watch in your entire life. I mean it. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm kind of just rambling now, talking about random stuff. Yeah. That's what I wanted to mention before. Tachikawa. He's heading east specifically, which means he probably will end up running into Enadora because the east is where Kazuma's squad was. So he probably will end up running into Enadora and fighting him. So that will be interesting to see. Amo was in this chapter for a brief moment. He's already taking care of the West, and he's just sitting on top of all these like soldiers he took out. He's just eating and stuff. It was funny. So hey, if he's done with that already, maybe once he finishes eating, he'll decide to do something and like I don't know, fight Ranma 9 or something. I don't know. maybe he'll actually like get involved, but whatever. It might happen, but probably not. But anyway, I'm interested in what happens next chapter. Interested to hear more about these different futures that Gene sees. And yeah, I'll give this, as far as the rating for this chapter, I will give it, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Because it was kind of not really character development for Ryo and Shiro, but kind of progression in the sense that they were about to make a rookie mistake and Cosmo was able to keep them from doing it and make them realize what the right decision was. Kind of. Also, Tachikawa was just awesome. He's Tachikawa. I mean, he's awesome. Then stuff with the chain at the end. So yeah, I'll say it was I'll give the chapter an 8.5 out of 10. Boom, done. All right, and that's it, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.